This episode of Rookie Hunter is brought to you by the Wild Sheep Foundation. Adventures in sheep country can change your life. And as residents of BC, we're very fortunate to have 3 different species of sheep in our province. After attending the Wild Sheep Foundation's annual convention, Sheep Show, in Reno, Nevada, we got to see what conservation looks like firsthand. The Wild Sheep Foundation's ability to raise and put millions of dollars on the ground each year to keep these majestic animals on the mountaintops worldwide is unmatched. The Wild Sheep family is a diverse group of people from all walks of life, and membership is open to anyone. Whether you're a seasoned pro, it's your first time on the mountain, or you just like to see sheep on the hillside, you can sign up and join today. Kelly and I are lifetime members, but you can become an annual member for just $45. You can also become a member of the Less Than One Club, which is the only club you want to get kicked out of. If you've never taken a North American or international ram, you can join us in the Less Than One Club for an extra $25. Plus, Less Than One Club membership also includes entry into a draw for 3 separate Dall sheep hunts, which will be given away at Sheep Show in 2019. For more information on the Wild Sheep Foundation and to become a member, head over to wildsheepfoundation.org. Hey guys, welcome to episode 78 of Rookie Hunter. We're back from our moose hunt, but don't get too excited. There aren't too many details about that trip in this episode, but you can expect the full episode next week. We do go over a few things that happened on the trip, so I'll give you a bit of insight into what we got up to and some of the things that were going on. Please support our sponsors, of course, the Wild Sheep Foundation. Registration is open for Sheep Show. That's happening in February. So hope to see some of you guys there. Just head over to the website, wildsheepfoundation.org to get all the info on that. And don't wait. Also, check out North Arm Knives. Get yourself something nice from those guys. Those knives accompany us on all of our hunts. We've taken apart quite a few animals with them and even used it for some fish while we're up north. So highly recommend those knives. We wouldn't have them on a sponsor if we didn't think they were great. Head over to northarmknives.com, or you can go to our website and find links to both of our sponsors. It helps us out when you support our sponsors, so please do that. You can also leave us a rating or review on iTunes. Again, all that stuff goes a long way. So let's get into this episode. Sit back, relax, and yes, we can finally crack a cold beer. Enjoy episode 78. Kelly, welcome back.
Hey, thanks. Morning.
Morning. Yeah, another morning episode.
Yeah.
You still got the rest of the week off?
I do.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice to have some time off. It's
Did you put that on silent?
I did, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, always good to give yourself a bit of a bumper after a hunt. Those of you expecting this to be the moose hunt, you're going to have to wait till next week. I have to sift through all the audio and make something out of that one. So we're not going to talk about it really. There's a couple things we might sort of touch on that happened during that hunt. Things that won't make the actual episode. How did you feel getting back? I always find it kind of interesting to get back to civilization. Feels weird.
Yeah. Actually, I was driving downtown the other day with my wife in the car, and I kind of had like ADD almost. Like I was looking, like there were some weird people out on this particular drive anyways, but I was like looking at everything, and she's like, can you just keep your eyes on the road? But when you're used to just seeing trees, it's a lot different when you kind of come back to a bigger town.
Yeah, even like just the night we got back, going inside the house and there being like artificial lighting, I was kind of like, this feels weird in here.
Yeah.
And then, having a hot shower was nice. And
oh man, that's always the best.
Yeah.
Heated rooms.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Also the weird thing is, even though I like crawled into a nice comfy bed and everything, there's always part of me that's like, oh shit, I wish I was still out there.
Yeah.
Even though if I was out there, I'd be like, fuck, I wish I was in my own bed.
Yeah.
But it is kind of a weird thing. It's almost like you just need to dip back into civilization for a day and then go back out again. Which you did. You took a day off, and then you and Kyle went back out yesterday.
Yep. Yeah, I put a few few kilometers on our boots again, and kind of did like a 10K loop, and we only seen a few does, unfortunately, but I don't know, man. I'm like, the more I hunt in October, the more I feel like it's the most difficult month to hunt.
Yeah.
September, you know, I kind of feel like with September, you know, the animals are going to be higher, so you can kind of concentrate on that top area. It limits things a little bit. And then that October pre-rut is pretty difficult because I don't know. It feels like the animals are kind of in hiding. And then once November hits, the rut starts, but the seasons change back to more restrictive seasons up here. So I don't know. I find it a difficult month. And this month has been, even up north and even here, I'm finding the days are super warm.
Yeah.
Like we were sweating out there. We came back with sunburn, and in the morning you're freezing.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the sun comes up, it's like, it feels like it's 30 degrees out there.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember that being the case last year. And I don't know if that's kind of, you know, affecting things a little bit, but
I think so.
it was interesting. I kind of noticed that the higher and higher we hiked, the older the sign was getting. So then we kind of changed plans, and we turned around, we went back lower, and then sign was getting more fresh. So I don't know. I think that's based on this specific region.
Yeah, I think so too.
And the behaviors there, but yeah, it's kind of, you know, planning more on the sign on this particular hunt. And then we ended up seeing a few does based on that judgment.
Right.
But yeah, I was looking hard. I was hoping one of them was a spiker or something, but
or a whitetail.
Yeah, any whitetail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which that doesn't last much longer. It's kind of too bad we sort of missed that part of the season around here, just, you know, with getting ready to go on the moose hunt and being up there for that. So
yeah, we can always go for a rip up, you know, to remember the blinds we used to sit in first year we hunted? They were kind of like man-made, but log, like they're still sitting there. Yeah. It'd be kind of cool to go back there and see if I could call in that deer again.
Yeah. He's up there waiting for you.
Yeah. Nobody else saw it. I was the only one that did. So I kind of like, it's been so long now that I'm kind of questioning myself. Like, was it even there or was I dreaming?
As a ghost. It was a whitetail.
The white ghost. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else? You guys see anything else out there?
If we were hunting chipmunks, we'd be loaded.
Yeah.
It's just, I've seen chipmunks everywhere I look.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Birds and chipmunks and hikers. Yeah. I don't know why there's so many. This is like end of October. And I know, like I just said, the weather's been awesome. So that's why. But
right.
Yeah, there was like a whole classroom or like Boy Scouts or who knows, but there was a big group of them all with huge packs on. I think they were camping out in the wilderness. And yeah, they kept coming around the corner because I noticed there's a bunch of voices, but yeah, that didn't do much for us. I kind of leaned over to Kyle there and I was like, you know, if we walked around as loud as they are, I bet you we'd see more animals.
Yeah, that's what I said to you too when you came in here. Yeah, I was just laughing, thinking, no, they probably saw like 4 bucks, a 6-point elk, and meanwhile you guys are up there being nice and quiet, and nothing walks by.
Yeah.
Kyle
saw black bear skull and carcass there. So I don't know. It seemed like a small one. I'm not sure what happened there.
Interesting.
So I don't think it would have been hunting related, but yeah, that was interesting. I don't really have anything much to say about that.
Yeah. Cool.
There's a lot of black bears in there.
Yeah, we've seen that. That's for sure. One thing that isn't going to make the episode for the moose hunt, mainly because at the time you're like, there's no fucking way this is going to make it into the episode. What happened while we were up there, Cal?
So we all use bear spray, and we all have holsters too. I ultimately kind of don't like the holster that I have. And I ended up with this. I use a Sitka Timberline pants, and they have a cargo pocket. And I kind of got in the habit of putting my bear spray in that cargo pocket. It's on the side. It's like super easy to reach in there and grab it. Still not the best spot for it. So I never had any issues with that. And then the one morning it was raining. So I started out the day with my rain gear on, and, I put my rain gear on, which has 2 pockets on the front. So I put the bear spray in there. And then when I bent over to pick up my, I don't know, it was my rifle or my water, one of the two, I just heard, right? And I'm like, at first I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe I sat on my radio or something.
Oh.
And then I realized like, oh shit, my bear spray's going off in my pocket. So immediately I didn't even think. I just kind of made this like sweeping motion with my hand, grabbed it and hucked it at the same time. And Kyle's looking at me like he could see this cloud coming out of my pocket, right? So we both take off. I run one direction, he goes the other. And, fortunately we didn't breathe any in or get any on our face or anything like that. But I did have it like my whole hand was covered in orange. And I have a little Kafaru mini belt pouch on my belt. Yeah. And that thing got the brunt of it. I think that is actually what kind of kept it away from us. Mm-hmm. So spray shot in there. And then I was wearing a Sitka Kelvin Light, and it kind of went up the side of my sleeve. So I ripped that off and basically like filled up my rain gear, my Cloudburst pants with bear spray. It was like dripping down the side. So it's actually a good thing I had that rain gear on because it protected all my other, like my legs and, so I took those off, wiped all the bear spray off my hand. And what else got hit? Oh, my pack belt, the side of my pack belt. So I wrapped that up with duct tape after I wiped it all off. That's how I used it for the rest of the trip.
Like your hip belt?
Yeah, my hip belt. But yeah, man, like, I don't know. I was so frustrated, like basically the whole trip. I just need time to reflect on it. It's kind of just mad at yourself, and it's not a smart thing to do. But it also makes you realize that, something like that could happen. So you got to be careful with that bear spray. Make sure you have a good holster. And a lot of the good holsters have an elastic band that kind of goes over the top of the clip. Right. So it kind of, pushes down, it holds it there. So I have one of those on order. And I also bought one of those canisters. You can find them at Mech or any outdoors place that you have around, but they kind of like twist on. It's a big plastic jar with foam in it. Yeah. So whether you like bang it, this is more for like truck transport or plane or whatever. It keeps the heat off of it and pressure. And, so that's good practice too. It's pretty cheap. Cause even those things sitting in the garage, man, like I just think about what if I knock it off the, workbench or something, it hits the ground. It like, you don't want that shit getting on anything. No. Pretty much wrecks it. And that like there's 2 things that happened. One, my hand was on fire for the rest of the day. Like felt 2 times the size of my other one. Actually, the only thing I could think of at the time, I had a bunch of like couple honey stingers. Mm-hmm. So I like put that in my water and I mashed it all up into like a paste. Okay. Because sugar neutralizes capsaicin, right? Like if you eat a hot pepper, they say to put a tablespoon of sugar in your mouth and it helps. So I kind of mashed that all up and I was like constantly rubbing it on my hand and it helped. Yeah. So I don't know.
I was looking at my bear spray, which is the same kind that you had. And there's the safety thing that's ribbed. So to get it out of there, it's kind of like notched. You have to really kind of yank it out of there. Mm-hmm. So there's sort of like 2 things that would have had to happen. One, that would have had to been pulled out. And then 2, obviously when you bent over, it just pushed the trigger. How do you think this safety came out?
I think it was all in one motion. Because with that pocket in the front, like when I bent over, there must have been, enough, the right pressure and the right direction just to pop that that clip off.
Yeah.
And then with continued, like it just continued and ended up pushing down
that's
the
crazy.
thing.
Yeah. It's like overall just like a shitty coincidence that both of those things happen.
It was,
because it doesn't come out that easy either. Like I was playing with mine and it's like, it's in there pretty good.
oh yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm surprised it happened. And I was so stoked that morning too, because we knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
We're going to the spot. I was the first one out of the tent. I was up like half an hour before everybody. I was making my breakfast. I was on a roll. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I can put my rain gear on. Going to walk through some wet bushes. It was raining.
Yeah.
I was all set. Literally, like before the first step, we were going to start heading into the bush right after we saw you guys.
Yeah.
And then like bent over, the whole morning was ruined.
Yeah.
We still hiked in there.
Yeah.
And we sat down for probably till 11:30. Then at that point, I was just like, oh, I got to go wash my hand.
You called on the radio and you didn't sound too happy.
I didn't know if you guys heard that because I couldn't hear anything you were saying back. But
no, got it loud and clear. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it was worse, obviously we would have had to go into town or something. But yeah, I mean, the moral of the story is make sure you have a good holster, but always be conscious of your bear spray. If you're throwing your pack down on the ground, especially a heavy pack, holster or not, I think you got to always make sure that you're not, dumping the pack on your bear spray or just always be conscious of it. If you're traveling in your truck or whatever, I think it's good practice to have a canister for it.
Well,
you don't want one of those going off in a truck, man.
So I don't know if Kevin told you this story, but he had, one of those like, you hook them into your trailer hitch on your vehicle and you can put like a little cargo container off the back of your vehicle.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So they were going over a pass, and I guess the way this cargo box was situated wasn't too far from the exhaust. I think this is what caused it. So one, they're going up over a mountain pass. Two, the exhaust is heating the bear spray inside of the cargo container. And as they're going up, the thing fucking exploded in the back. And I guess they were going up to the cabin and my mom was in the vehicle behind them and she just saw this thing just go soaring out of the back of the car like a rocket. And all of Kev's stuff was back there and obviously covered in bear spray and that. So that's kind of the last thing you would expect to happen. You know, you thought the car like blew up or something, not a can of bear spray in the back. So
yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And then like for cleaning, like I was most just based on the fact that, we weren't in pain other than my hand. Then my mind went to like, oh shit, I wrecked my gear.
Right.
Like I wrecked my rain pants. And that jacket I was wearing, but I don't know, when I got home, I did a little Googling. Well, first we threw them in garbage bags for the rest of the trip. I had my waders. So when we got back to the lake, I used a bunch of dish soap and was in the lake for a good hour. And then when I got home, I Googled some stuff and they said to use some cold cream, which is, I don't know why they call it cold cream, but it's like Nivea cream or Pond's cold cream cleanser is what I bought. And you kind of rub that stuff in there and let it sit for 20 minutes. And then rinse it out. And then I threw it in a bucket with OxyClean.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of to get that orange dye out too.
Right.
And after that, I threw it in the wash with my tech wash. And then I washed some DWR back into it after that. So it was kind of like a full day process. You can't even tell with the Kelvin light that anything happened.
Nice.
The rain pants, all the stuff that was kind of dripping down the side, it's pretty much gone.
Nice.
The little, the plastic around the zipper.
Yep.
That's still tinged a little bit orange, but whatever. It's all camo. You can't really tell. And I just hope I didn't damage any of the Gore-Tex waterproofness. Right. But I haven't really been able to test it yet. So the downside to that is my gear kind of smells kind of like Nivea cream.
Right.
So I'm hoping that doesn't last too long.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll fade away.
But I'd rather have it smell like that than not be functional, right?
Yeah, totally.
And I've still done I do the tongue test. like a part of the gear that was in that area, and my nose or my tongue still burns a bit. But I don't think it's to the point where I'd be afraid to put something in the pocket or whatever.
Right.
And with time, that'll probably go away too.
Yeah, for sure.
So overall, I think got lucky.
Definitely, man. If that hit you guys in the face, that would have sucked.
Yeah.
Would have been funny now, but not at the time.
I don't know what you do if you got hit in the face with that stuff, man. Like,
you just have to weather the storm, I think, man. I don't know if there's much else you can do.
Every time, because we were standing beside that lake, so every time I had to take a piss, I was like putting my my nitrile gloves on or whatever they're called.
Good call.
Yeah.
That would have added some frustration to the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, could have been worse, man, and you'll never do that again.
Yeah. So honey stingers, another use for them.
Nice. So yeah, we're not talking about any. That's all you guys are getting as far as the moose hunt.
Yeah. Oh, and then I didn't have bear spray for the rest of the trip.
Right. I should have gave you mine.
Well, I was with Kyle most of the time, anyways. But
just to make you feel better.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, Kyle, something happens, you reach for the bear spray, I'll reach for the gun.
Right.
But yeah, it was all good.
Nice. Plans for the rest of the season? You have a limited entry. How do you get all these, by the way, Kelly? I've got nothing so far.
I don't know.
You got another one for a doe in a region outside of the Okanagan, or outside of Region 8.
Yep.
Which is cool. What kind of terrain and elevation are we dealing with for that one?
Well, there's a couple options. One is we can go to the top of the summit, kind of where the boundary flips, and we can hunt up there, which is more kind of hunting cuts and timber. Or we can drop down the backside, and then we get more into, I don't know what you call it, a little more grassland terrain. Yeah. But I'm not totally familiar with that side. So I might make a couple calls and talk to a couple people and just see kind of, with the doe tag like that, it's a little easier to talk to people and they'll give you some ideas. If you're like saying, hey, where's the 4-point buck live out there? Then they're like, oh, screw you.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking for a group of does, I think people are more receptive to it.
Yeah.
But the plan was to go to a different region so that we could get the doe there and then keep our buck for this.
Yeah, because it's for mule deer, so you can only have one mule deer per region and only 2 in total.
Yeah.
Right.
And we still have some of your buck in the freezer. So I'm not feeling like a ton of pressure. I mean, we definitely have to get that doe, but I don't feel a whole ton of pressure to get another buck on top of that. But I would definitely love to.
What's the date on that one?
It's all November.
All of November?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, that's good. So
let me double check that.
We'll be dealing with some colder temps, which I'm kind of looking forward to in a way. It's better if it's going to be cold to just be cold. What we've been dealing with is like cold mornings and then, 15 degrees in the freaking middle of the day. But I'd rather just like dress for cold and be ready for that rather than constantly adding and removing layers. It gets to be kind of annoying, but is what it is. Yeah.
Are you planning on getting out anymore?
Well, long weekend in November. Got a film gig on the coast, which actually involves hunting.
Nice. Blacktail?
Yeah, on the island. So yet to be determined if this is actually happening, and I'm actually doing sound for it, but it's hunting related. I'll give you the details after this, Cal. But
cool.
So the guy that I'm going there with said, you might want to bring a tag along with you and your rifle. So I was like, sure, if we can call this work and do a bit of hunting on the side too, then that'd be awesome.
Nice.
So that'll be cool. We're going out on a boat, and I think we're staying on the boat. It sounds like leaving out of Vancouver. So sounds pretty rad and pretty unexpected. So be cool
awesome.
to bring back some meat from that one. So if we got, one of those deer and your doe, that'd be all right.
Yep, for sure. I kind of wish I would have taken a doe in the first, like with the first LEH tag we had.
Right.
We took that buck because it was kind of like, well, there's a doe there and there's a buck there. So let's take the buck.
Well, it was kind of like there's a bunch of does, a buck. There's another doe right down here.
Yeah.
Like
we kind of just leaned to the buck, but
yeah,
I think the buck was actually smaller than the does.
Maybe. It was tasty though.
Anyways, but yeah, I would like to be interesting to taste some blacktail.
Yeah,
like island blacktail.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, and it sounds like there's a lot of deer there. So obviously the focus of it is the guy who's being filmed to get a deer, but we got 3 days or something like that. So hopefully there's some downtime and be able to stomp around a little bit too.
Yeah,
be awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll be on the island too for work.
Oh, will you?
Yeah, November 6th or 7th to 9th, I think.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be going there on the 9th.
Be in Souk. Which I hear is nice.
Extend your trip and come join us.
When are you going to be there?
I leave on the 9th and come back on the 12th or something like that.
Interesting.
Put you to work.
We'll talk details. And then, yeah, so I just checked that LEH is all of September. Or, sorry, November.
November. Sweet. Cool. Well, things are looking good for next month. Better than I thought.
Yeah, I look forward to November too because you get to see, like, there's some snowy patches and you can kind of find tracks a little easier.
It's totally different. Yeah.
I do better in November for sure.
Sweet. Well, something to look forward to for sure.
Yep.
Any other plans? I think that's kind of it, eh?
Yep, I think so. Just a lot of unpacking to do and cleaning and
yeah, I got all my stuff washed and everything. It still smells like campfire though.
Yeah.
Just gonna have to, is what it is. It's hard to get that smell out, especially when you spent 10 days wearing the same shit and standing in front of a fire every night. So
yeah,
just have to hang it outside, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, everything was good on that front. And just get back to normal life here is always a bit of a change of pace.
Mm-hmm.
Should we do some dog updates?
Sure.
Start with Norris. We haven't talked about Norris in a while.
He's doing good. He's got his X-ray end of the month here, and he had a bit of an infection scare, but it seems to be all good now. He went through a round of antibiotics, and
nice.
He's been off them now, and it seems to be okay. So, yeah, I mean, he's just, jumping around and trying to play, and we're trying to contain him still.
Yeah.
He'll only be at the 8-week mark, which is kind of 8 to 12 weeks is kind of when they say to keep them on lockdown.
Yeah.
Leashes only. And then once he gets past that, we can try to hopefully like take him for actual walks and let him out in the backyard without a leash and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's all going pretty good.
Good. Poor guy.
Yeah, it's been a long road already, and it's only been 2 months, but like total recovery time's like 6 to 9 months.
Right. Hopefully around that 6 month point, him being young and healthy, he should be, hopefully. But yeah, you got to still take it easy because to get that far and undo all that work would suck. But,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's up with Oscar?
Oh, man. This actually will make the episode. I sort of touched on it. But while we were up there on the moose hunt, you got cell service and found some, you were on Instagram or whatever, and you saw a photo for missing dog, and it was a photo of Oscar.
Yeah. Well, I was
found by that point.
I saw the found post. So I was like, oh shit, but it's okay. So then I was looking into it further, but it's nice to see the found post first.
Yeah. So anyways, you saw that, and the funny thing was like we were at camp for a couple hours, and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, Oscar ran away. I'm like, what? It was just sort of hits you like a bag of shit when you're way out in the middle of nowhere with no cell service. You're like, fuck, seriously? Mm-hmm. So he's sitting here laying on the couch fast asleep to look at this dog and think that he would do something like that. He wouldn't. But he's, oh my God, he's 10 years old and he knows how to open doors. And it sounds like bullshit, but he knows how to open deadbolts too. He's even opened up the garage door by hitting the button and opening up the whole thing. So I guess he was probably pissed off that I left, I'm thinking. Because him and I are pretty much like, he comes to work with me. He's pretty much always sitting right next to me, and leaving on a hunting trip, he's probably like, fuck this, I'm out of here. So he opened up the main door, like unlocked the deadbolt, opened up the door, and left the house. And I guess he headed, there's an elementary school not too far from our place.
Mm-hmm.
And he went there, and I guess he was hanging out with all the kids, and they were feeding them their lunches and just having a great time. And I guess a guy who works at the school got a skipping rope, captured him by luring him in with some ham or something like that. And I think he might have been at the school for the afternoon or something like that. The guy just kind of held on to him. Oscar, because he was in the house, didn't have his collar on, so he didn't have any tags or info or anything like that on him.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy brought him back to his house. He has a young German Shepherd, I guess. And he didn't want to drop him off because there's animal control. You can just go and drop him off after hours, right? He decided to just kind of wait. He figured it would show up on Facebook at some point. So I guess he had put up a photo and all that. So he had actually called animal control just to say, hey, I've got this dog if someone phones down. But it was after hours, and it was sort of a friend of ours who knew somebody who worked with animal control, called them, was able to get this guy's number, and then linked Ashley up to him. And by about like 6:30, they finally connected that same day, and she was able to bring him home. But that could have been a whole lot worse because there's a busy highway. Well, not a highway, but like a main route through town, close to our place there. And could have easily got hit by a car, or
it's
he
a
could
4-lane.
Yeah. And, heavy, big trucks and everything going through that route. So it definitely could have been a whole lot worse. But man, that's not cool. So
I was like, do I tell him?
I know, I could tell when you just like, well, based on the amount of time that passed while you were at camp, and then it's like about to go to bed, you're like, oh yeah, by the way.
I was like, do I tell him? I'm like, I know, so it worked out.
Yeah, because
do I tell him and then have him think about it? Or it worked out, so do I tell him? And then I was like, just, okay. So I was like, okay, so it's all good. He's found.
Yeah.
And then right away you're like, oh shit, Oscar ran away. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't like it was an overnight thing. At least it was just like an afternoon. But
that would have ended had he not been found, I would have been out of there for sure.
Yeah.
So that it all worked out. But
yeah,
man, you think for technically he's a senior, still doing mischievous shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord. I think that was a pretty clear hint that it's him saying, don't ever leave me out of another hunt, you bastard.
Yeah.
So anyways, all had a happy ending, but just the joys of owning pets, I suppose.
Yeah.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you can't like stop them from hurting themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, you look over your shoulder. One day he's eating a sock. The next day he's jumping off the cliff. The next day he's opening the garage door and running down to the school. Next, like, I don't know what goes through their head. But
I don't know. I wish you could just like sit him down and have a talk with him and be like, man, you can't be doing this shit.
Yeah.
You realize what could have happened, right? One, you may have never came home. Two, you might have been hit by a car.
Yeah.
Those are your options, pal.
Yeah.
So anyways.
It's all worth it though. Can't imagine a house without a dog.
Yeah, I know. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what hit me when we were up there. It's like, man, I can't imagine going home and the dog not being there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It hits you pretty hard when you're in an area with very little distraction and lots of quiet. It gives you some time to think and go through all those scenarios in your head.
Yeah.
But everything's good. He's here.
It's all good.
Yep. Both dogs are alive. That's the dog update. Cool, man. Well, shorter episode this week, but we'll be back with the moose episode sometime next week. I'll keep chipping away at it, and hope you guys dig it. We've gotten a lot of emails. I think in a couple weeks' time, we'll probably start going through some of those, because lots of good stuff, lots of good stories, lots of guys having success out there. And I've seen some cool photos and great stories, and, guys learning stuff from this podcast that helped them to be successful out there. So that's really cool to hear that, the guests we bring on and the stupid stuff that we do keeps people from making those same mistakes. So
yeah, there's a couple cool ones of people that either get an animal or they're going out to go on a hunt, and they're like, "Oh, we're playing your podcast, on the way out there. So you were actually part of our hunt."
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
But
that's why we do it.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, keep them coming. We read them all. We don't always respond, but we read them and get back to them as we can. But yeah, we'll go through some of those in a couple weeks here. So in the meantime, good luck to all you guys that are out there and on crazy adventures and finding success or not, learning some stuff. That's it for me. Cal, anything else?
Nope.
Cool. See you next week.
Sounds good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This episode of Rookie Hunter was also brought to you by North Arm Knives. North Arm Knives are handcrafted and sold directly through a father and son team right here in British Columbia. Choose from a selection of outdoor knives, kitchen knives, and custom engravings from northarmknives.com. They ship internationally and guarantee all of their work. Kelly and I have put their products to the ultimate test and give them our stamp of approval. Head over to northarmknives.com.